Okay. All right. Welcome to my makeup tutorial. So, I do this before I do my hair because I blend contour into my hairline. I need to brush that out. So, step one. All right. Foundation. I do liquid because I like it. I guess this is just going to be in real time of me doing my makeup. So I'm not a video editor, so I do not know how to speed up this process. I also don't want to have to send you like 800 little videos. I guess for my foundation, I like to use this brush. It's like, you know, stubby, flat, probably needs to be washed. That's not really part of it. You can use a brush that's washed. I do go on my eyelids a little bit too, if I've got like enough, which I do. And then I don't go super far down on my neck, but I try not to stop. Like, I don't stop at like a harsh line here, just because even though this foundation matches my actual skin color pretty well, sometimes it oxidizes, so it gets a little bit more tan as soon as I like go outside and a lot of oxygen hits it. So I just bring it down to my neck, like kind of like this, just to make sure. Next step is concealer. I don't use a lot of concealer because I use one that's pretty white. It's this one from Benefit. So I do, the trick with concealer, in my opinion, is don't put it directly under your eye. Put it like on the corners, because that's the part that it makes more sense to have like pretty stark white highlights. You don't want to have it directly under your eye because that's going to look a little bit less natural. So I kind of blend it out from there and then blend it out this way, because if your eye has a little bit harsher white right here and in the inner corner, that looks a little bit more normal than if you had such stark white directly under your eye. I mean, I'm still covering like the eye bags, but it just looks a little bit better, in my opinion. I also use concealer as my eyeshadow base, but I'll do my eyeshadow in a second. Alright, so that's that one. I don't really know what kind of eyeshadow you're going for, so I'm just gonna do kind of a regular, like, brown, because I also don't know what kind of color range you got. So, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if I do eyebrows and contour and stuff first, or if I do eyeshadow first. Sometimes I like to do eyeshadow first, just in case I get like a lot of stuff fall on my face. I can kind of brush it off easier. So, we'll do it first that way. I have a bunch of brown that's like matte, and then I'll also do this is like just some shimmery nonsense, but you could also do any shimmery nonsense, so like this type of thing would also work. Starting brush, I always go for something like fairly fluffy at first. If you don't have one of these little switching things, I would suggest getting one. It's like a sponge thing, and you kind of just go like this so that you make sure that you don't have like purple or something on this. So then I'm gonna go with like a medium brown-ish. So I like to use something like this, that's like, if I were to actually be able to tan, this is the color I could use. With that, and then where I'm gonna put that is gonna start kind of right above my like corner of my eye, and I'm gonna put it right in the crease. I have hooded eyes, so a lot of my eyeshadow ends up hidden, but basically right in the crease. And then I just start swiping it back and forth, making my swipes bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Some people like to do one eye at a time. I like to do both eyes at the same time, because that way I can make sure that I'm doing the same thing, because sometimes I start adding so much shit to my eyeballs that I forget what all colors I used on one eye. So basically same thing, just swiping it back and forth. We're just making it so that the crease looks a little deeper, like that. That already looks pretty solid. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of a pointier brush, so like one that's a little bit more stubby. There we go. And I'm gonna use something probably significantly darker. So like one of these, I'm gonna go with like this one because it's got a little bit more of a reddish tone in it, and I like that one more. Just a little bit. Tap off your brush if you need to. And then this is going right in that corner. This is hard to do not looking directly at it. So right in the corner, because I want to make the corner pretty dark, because that's how I like my eyeshadow. Yeah. And if it's looking patchy as hell at this point, don't worry, because I go back and I blend it out some more. I like to do my eyeshadow kind of back and forth, blending it, and then not. With this, I'm not going to go above the crease, just in the crease, up to it, right in the corners. Yep, looking patchy as hell. That's okay. We're fixing it next. Back to the fluffy brush. Same color. And then right back over top of that, blend it out a little more. I do take my eyeshadow pretty high up, almost my eyebrow. But I also go back and I do a white highlight once I do my eyebrows, actually. So that's pretty solid at this point. If it's looking like you went too far, if it's too dark at this point, go in with like something fairly light, like this one right here. It's kind of like the color of my concealer. And then do that same thing. Back and forth up here. This part I'm doing on like the flat part of my skull. And that's just to blend it out a little bit more and tone it down if I need to, if I went crazy. Perfect. We're gonna call that good for a few minutes. And then I'm doing this in a weird order, my bad. And then I'm gonna take that like shimmery stuff. This is supposed to be a highlight. That's fine. I use highlight as eyeshadow all the time. And I'm gonna go straight on my finger. So this one's kind of like a bronzy-ish highlight. And then that, if you want this to be like really intense, you can put down another little layer of concealer, and that will obviously make it like, that'll give it like a little base. And for that, I would just start in the corner with your concealer and kind of pat it out like until that edge of the brown. I'm not getting that fancy. So I'm just going, starting in the corner of my eye right there. And I'm just kind of patting it into my eye. And I'm just going to kind of blend it out from there. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm using a color that's a little bit more brown in like the shimmery But if you wanted something, again, a little bit more stark, then I would use something a little bit more white base, because that'll give you like that glamorous look. Okay, we're gonna call that good on eyeshadow for a second. So I do that portion of eyeshadow, and then I'm actually gonna come back later and bring it under my eyes, but I like to do my contour and stuff first because I blend that out a lot. And this will be a controversial opinion, but I do my eyebrows damn near last. Most people do them like first. Contour, I'm gonna use something that's pretty tan, but not like insanely darker than my skin. I start at these little, like, I don't know, divots in my hairline, I guess. And I just want to get something in there. And then kind of fill in the rest of my hairline. So this is why I was saying I try to do my makeup first, because I literally have this brush like into my hairline. So sometimes I get a bunch of makeup and shit in there, and then I need to brush it out with like a comb with water on it. I take the same contour just down to my ear. Same thing. I'm just covering up my hairline just to make it so that my foundation isn't so stark. And I'm gonna blend this out in a few minutes, so if it's like, holy shit, that's really tan, it'll be fine, I promise. Then, suck in your cheeks. It's the line right here that you're going for. Yep. Same thing on the other side. Make sure to get these even, otherwise you're gonna look crazy, so. Yep. The other thing you can do is do a line right here. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to work and I don't need a full face of contour. But you basically think like you're doing like the number 3. So you take it and then you'd go. But again, I'm not going to do that because it's going to look too stark. Just going to work on a Friday. Then after I do that, that's all I do for like a bronzer contour. Nothing crazy. I just do blush brush. By the way, for contour, I was using like a, medium-ish fluffy brush. I don't know if this has an actual number on it. Probably not. Blush brush, and then I like to go kind of right above that bronzer. If I look like a Neapolitan ice cream sandwich right now, I did it right. Should be pink, brown, and then pretty white. I like a decent amount of blush. I just think it looks better. If you're gonna do a full ass face, you might as well go for it. Might as well do a whole ass face of blush too. Alright. Now that we're looking like an ice cream sandwich, I am gonna go in with my actual powder. This one on camera looks really yellow, but this is just some L'Oreal nonsense from like the drugstore. Big fluffy brush for this one, load it up with powder, and then you're just gonna kind of start blending. And I'll kind of try to do like one side of my face first, so that you can really see that I like to blend this out a lot. Some people like to leave a little bit more of like a stark contour. I do not. I don't want to look that crazy. It should look like a nice kind of soft glow, in my opinion. So that's this bronzer right here. This is the blush right here. Before, after. Don't forget the under eye. That needs powder on it, otherwise your mascara will smudge. Again, you kind of got to get in the hairline a little bit. Just wash it out later if you went too insane. Alright, there we go. There's that contour line, there's the blush, but it's nice and toned down now. Okay. Next is we are gonna go, where is my eyeshadow? Now I'm gonna finish out a little bit of the underneath of my eyeshadow. I'm gonna take a really stubby brush. This one's like very stubby little baby. And then I like to pull a little bit of this dark eyeshadow just under. So same dark color that I used, teeny amount. And then just under my eye. Not even halfway. It just makes it look, I don't know, a little better. I do this after I do all the other various powders and stuff though, because otherwise I feel like this will get blended out a little too much. That's that. All right. Just a little bit. Probably to about the edge of my like brown part of my eyeball is where I'm ending that at, if I'm looking straight forward. I do eyebrows next. The way that I do my eyebrows, it might be hard to see on camera, but right now, obviously, bald eyebrows. I'm going to try to use this as like a mirror today. I just take a little spoolie brush, brush my eyebrows up. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to be able to see the line of my natural eyebrow. Now, the reason that I do eyebrows damn near last is I feel like I'm gonna get a bunch of powder and shit in them if I do them first. I don't know how these beauty influencers do them first, but that's not me. So I use a angled teeny tiny brush and this old as shit Sephora brown eyeshadow that I've probably had for a decade, and I just draw the line of my eyebrow. God, this is hard to do. How do these beauty influencers do this? Not bad. I set that down for a second. So I can make sure I did this right. Cool. All right. Nice. I'm just doing the line underneath my eyebrow. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to blend this out in a little bit. Jack, please. I'm trying to be an influencer. Same thing on the other side. Eyebrows I do simultaneously because I don't want to end up with crazy uneven eyebrows. It's okay if these aren't perfect lines because they're getting blended out anyway. I mostly just want to make sure that they're roughly the same shape. The other thing is, when you're doing your eyebrows, make sure you're not like raising your eyebrows because that's going to make the shape different. Make sure that you at least look straightforward, relaxed. And if you're like, I can't tell if these are the same shape or not, I take the end of my brush and I kind of hold it like parallel with my nose to see where the end lines up. See where the end lines up. This eyebrow naturally is a little bit longer than this one, so sometimes I have to take the left one a little bit longer than my natural eyebrow. It's okay because I fill them in. And then same thing with this. All right, so that's hitting about here. That's hitting about here. Those are pretty much the same. So again, still with this brown eyeshadow, I then go back through and just kind of take it from the bottom line and brush it up. I don't get like more on my brush. I try to just keep it pretty dusty at this point, just so my brush has a little bit on it. But I'm mostly just brushing that one harsh line I made upwards, and I brush it up to the top of where the natural hair of my eyebrow is. Because I don't want my eyebrows to be totally filled in, because I think that looks crazy. If your brush is getting too patchy, more eyeshadow on it. But this is all just eyeshadow. check to make sure they're even-ish, even enough. Yep. So now, at this point, my eyebrows are only eyeshadow. So then I have this that the label has worn off of 100 years ago. This is like actual eyebrow doing stuff. So this looks like a teeny tiny mascara wand. Oh great, a chunk fell out of it. That's nice. This is like a teeny tiny mascara wand that's brown. I use dark brown because my hair is dark brown. For this, I just comb it through. This is kind of just putting darker pigment on the actual eyebrow hairs, which makes the actual eyebrow look more natural than just filling it in with eyeshadow. This is almost empty. Same thing on this side. And that's pretty much that. If you need to clean up any like little spare things, but for the most part, you're pretty even. So we're gonna call that good on eyebrows. Now, because I did actual eyeshadow today, before I put mascara on, I like to just do a couple quick like highlights that just make my eyeshadow look fancier than it probably is. The highlights that I like to do are brow bone and then inner corner of eye, because I think that that is what looks best. So brow bone is this part right here. I'm going to use some shiny stuff. You could also just use white or off-white. You don't want to use a lot of this because a little bit's going to go a long way. So I just put it just right here. Blend it out just enough. And I'm going to use kind of a flat rounded brush for this one, because I really just want it to be in that one particular little spot. But I think this versus this might be hard to see with the camera, but this just makes my eyebrow look a little bit sharper, makes my makeup look a little bit fancier than it actually is. Same thing on this side. Little bit goes a long way. There we go. Inner corner of eye. I'm going to use one of my fingers, not the one that you use to put eyeshadow on, just in case you have brown shit still on your fingers. I use ring finger. That one is one of the most gentle fingers, like naturally, and that way you're not going to stab yourself in the eye. I put it right in the corner. Perfect. I think those are two little spots where you can put a little bit of extra eyeshadow to make people think that you took a long time on your makeup when you didn't take a ton of time on it. As far as lip and mascara go, I mean, again, I'm going to work. I can't do like a full face. If I was going to put highlight on, I like to use like a fairly light highlight. I don't like a ton, but that's going to go right here at the top of your blush. I use like a fairly sparse kind of brush for that. Something more like this, like a very fluffy long brush, and I would put that right here. I'm not doing highlight today. Lips, again, I'm not doing fancy lips this morning. You know how to put lipstick on. It's not hard. So I'm just putting chapstick on, and then mascara, and then I finish it all off with setting spray, Urban Decay setting spray. That's the best one. If you don't have that one, go out and buy it immediately because it's worth it. It's at, you know, all the stores, and I want to say it's around like 30 bucks. Nothing too crazy. For mascara, I'm using this mascara that I don't really like. It is from Maybelline Lash Sensational, and it is so wet. I don't know how to explain. It's It's so liquidy, I feel like I'm gonna get mascara all over my freaking life whenever I put mascara on. I don't like it. That's mascara. You know what that looks like. I also put mascara on my bottom lashes. Might also be a controversial thing. Some people don't like it. I do. There we go. If you buy setting spray, you're going to want to give your mascara a second to dry before you put that on. Otherwise, you're going to get mascara all over your face. Alright. Setting spray. T motion. There we go. This is what I would call medium fancy.